Welcome everyone to Life Captured episode 44. Today I want to talk about trauma and healing. Starters, I don't want it to seem like I'm stuck in the past and I can't move forwards and I keep looking backwards. Even though I have struggled with that, I'm not in this current season of life, and I would like to share quotes and relatable content to those who would understand. But the subject of healing is much more difficult than I think a lot of people portray. So I want to talk about the ugly side of healing. Healing is a bridge between the broken and the happy whole part, I'm still healing. I don't think an entire lifetime of brokenness and pain and trauma can simply be fixed in a few short years. And it takes a lot of time, and thanks to the goodness of God and His grace and this whole situation, I have broken out of this dark place I used to be in, and I'm thriving in the environment He has placed me, and I am beginning to heal and really blossom, especially around the people that He has put in my life. A friend and I were discussing narcissism recently and the struggle that we both had with being abused by a narcissist. And despite that kind of situation, you tend to come out the other side having been influenced by that person and bringing some of them with you. And so while I know that I'm not a narcissist, I do at times portray narcissistic features, and that may be a little off-putting for people to hear, but it is entirely truthful, and it is something that I have worked very hard to remedy. I've carefully analyzed my behavior, my life, to not become like the people who have hurt me. And it's been very difficult because the saying hurt people is very true. And I have noticed myself lash out at people, not in anger or bitterness or hatefulness, but from a place of deep pain and brokenness and mistrust, and really wishing for what was denied of me. About healing is whether you are or aren't, when you come away from a situation like this, especially when you've been abused, you tend to mirror that person a little bit. There's kind of two extremes that people fall to, and a lot of people fall to being abusive just like how they were abused. And so it's very important to analyze your behavior and your actions and ask yourself whether or not you are following in their stead. And therapy is a great resource for people who have been in difficult situations, and it's very good for healing and moving on and really working through things. Personally, for me, therapy never really did work. And I have always been stubborn and refused to go on medication, although I know that medication can help some people. So therapy and medication are two options. But what I didn't know years ago was the key to everything would surprisingly be God. And you think, why would you say surprisingly? You're a Christian. I thought, okay, it seems so pointless to be like, oh, I'll pray for you, or, oh, the answer is God. And it just felt like you're not actually doing anything. How is that really supposed to help? And it was when I started focusing entirely on my relationship with God and surrendering that He began to break things off in my life. And I can only describe it. I can't even describe how any of this happened, but I know that where I am in life now was only because of him. Now let me clarify specifically. I am not saying you shouldn't get medication if you need to, or you shouldn't get therapy if you need to, or you shouldn't use these resources that are out there. But I'm just saying, for me, the thing that shook everything up was really just God coming in and rescuing me. I was talking with a few of my friends the other night and discussing where I was a few years ago. And I was in such a dark place in life. And looking back, it's taken this long to realize how muddled my mind was. And I was in such a state of fear and anxiety and depression and darkness and these constant suicidal thoughts. It was day in and day out. There was no hope. And honestly, I was not looking for it. There was just, I don't know, but there was just such a darkness that was on me and on my life, and just this bondage that held me in that for years. And it's just incredible where God has taken me and how he's brought me out of it. So I wanted to share a little bit about the downsides of coming through this and where I am today. I have hurt people through these past few years. And as much as it's never been my intention to hurt people, and it's never been my intention to, I've always tried my best to be better and to not be like the people that hurt me. And unfortunately, I have failed at that too many times. And to those I've hurt, I am deeply, deeply sorry. The only reason I'm here today is because God saw fit to save me. And I know that sounds so cliche, especially coming from a Christian, but it's absolutely true. My healing has been an absolute roller coaster. And I didn't really want to make a kind of episode like this because it kind of felt like I'm trying to go towards the future, and be an inspiration to myself and maybe to other people. And how can I make an episode like this while keeping that image, I guess? And I realized I'm not done healing. And I think it's really important to share that journey of healing with other people, for those who aren't as far along as I am, those who haven't had as much. So that's a big part of why I wanted to share this. I'm still pretty far from healed, and I'm not perfect at all, but this is a little bit of my story. And if it wasn't for God and him literally plucking me right out of where I was and putting some incredible people into my life, I wouldn't be here. And I don't know what would have happened. But he has put a hedge of protection around me. And he gave me another chance, and I'm going to use it, and I'm going to live life to the fullest, and I'm going to do everything I can to serve his ministry. And just remember, healing is a process, and it's all going to be okay. You all have a great week. God bless you. Just breathe.